One of the most convoluted instances of poor communication at the Battle of Gettysburg took place between Union Major General Daniel Edgar Sickles, commander of the 3rd Army Corps, and his superior, Major General George Gordon Meade, commander of the Army of the Potomac. General Sickles and his 10,000-man corps would arrive here at Gettysburg over the night of the 1st into July 2nd. When Meade's staff checked up on the position of the 3rd Corps that morning of July 2nd, Sickles expressed uncertainty as to where his men should be placed. He was ordered to extend the line of the Union 2nd Corps, pushing further to the south along Cemetery Ridge, specifically occupying General Geary's old line as Geary and part of the 12th Corps had moved. This didn't seem quite clear to General Sickles, and he would show up at headquarters in the mid-morning to express his uncertainty in person. General Meade reiterated those orders: extend the left of the 2nd Corps, occupying Geary's line. Sickles would then ask if he had permission to place his men as he saw fit. General Meade agreed to this, telling Sickles that he had permission to do so as long as he followed the previous instructions. As Sickles left headquarters, he began thinking of a new line, and he invited the artillery commander, General Hunt, to join him. The two of them would ride along Cemetery Ridge here to the Peach Orchard. Hunt agreed that this was good artillery ground, but he could not give Sickles permission to change his line. Hearing some artillery fire elsewhere in the battlefield, Hunt would leave. Sickles, meanwhile, had decided that his position as assigned had poor fields of fire because it was placed in low ground. His enemy might approach him long before he could see to respond. In addition to that, he feared Confederate soldiers would make a turning movement against his position, and he no longer had any cavalry support as they had been withdrawn to resupply. Furthermore, on General Sickles' mind, his previous experience at the Battle of Chancellorsville. There he had given up some high ground. That became a Confederate artillery position, and his men paid dearly with their lives. With those things in mind, General Sickles would make a forward movement just after noon. He would place his right flank from here in the Peach Orchard, stretching down the Emmitsburg Road. His left flank, again originating here in the Peach Orchard, would stretch toward the Devil's Den. This position was 50% longer than General Sickles' old position. In addition to that, it now formed a salient or dangerous right angle, and the left portion had significant gaps in the line. Sickles would send a staff officer to report his new position to headquarters. That staff officer would return, telling General Sickles that his presence was requested at a staff meeting. Sickles declined to attend because there was some fire along his segment of the line, and he thought it best to remain with his soldiers. As a second staff officer was returning to General Sickles to clarify that this was an order, not a request, General Meade was learning that the 3rd Corps was not in position where he expected it to be. When General Sickles arrived at headquarters, Meade told him to return to his position, and shortly thereafter, Meade joined General Sickles here in the Peach Orchard. Meade would express his disgust that the 3rd Corps had been moved from its assigned position, but he also noted that the presence of his Confederate enemy meant that neither commander had the opportunity to adjust this line. They would have to fight with this line where it was. In the fighting that followed, the Union Army would fight piecemeal, that is, brigade by brigade or division by division. And even though the Union Army had 50% larger manpower, they would sustain 50% more casualties than their Confederate foes. Under this scenario, what opportunities do you see for General Sickles and General Meade to have practiced better communication skills? If you could advise Sickles and Meade on what to have done differently to improve their communication, what advice would you have given them?